Now then, how are you doing? Question for you. What's the difference between this and this? The answer, about $200. Because this one still has its obi, which is nearly 60 years old. So why does the obi affect the value so much? Well, it's a little bit like a hype sticker. Imagine you have an old copy of GI Blues, like this one here. You probably wouldn't get too much for it, but if it had that little heart-shaped sticker saying wooden heart on it, then you'd be able to get a lot more money for it. But what are obis for? Why are they so hard to find on old records? And what exactly is printed on them? Well, I'm going to talk about all that in today's video. These days, many collectors see the obi as an integral part of the overall package, but it wasn't always the case. This book here is a picture book showing photographs of thousands of Japanese records from 1954 to 1979. And the author of the book has actually ran a record shop in Japan for many decades. And he gives a couple of interesting theories as to why obis might be so rare on early albums. Firstly, he says as a buyer back in the 1960s, he would throw away the obi. And he gives an example. The Beatles' first album, which he bought, he said the obi covers up John's face. So the obi actually gets in the way of the artwork. It spoils the artwork, if you like. So probably many other people, like the author of this book, simply discarded the obi. The author of this book says that it's especially difficult to find obis on albums pre-1962. It's actually difficult to find obis on any album from even after 1962 up to about 1970. But anyway, he gives a possible reason for why it's so difficult to find albums with an obi before 1962. And he's not sure of this, but he said he's heard that it's possible that the manufacturer would only send out one copy of the album with an obi to the shop, and that one copy with the obi was used on display to promote the album. All the other copies of the album were sent without obis. The store display theory gives a hint, I think, to the actual purpose of the obi, and it's basically just to promote the record. I mentioned hype stickers earlier, and an obi is a little bit like a hype sticker, only with more information. So what exactly is on there? Well, I'm going to show you a few albums now by different artists, and I'll explain what exactly is on there. Almost all companies, no matter the record company, contain certain essential information, and we can see that on this copy of Elvis, from Elvis in Memphis. This is a 1970s pressing, and at the top here you can see the record label. This one you will find on almost all obis, as well as a catalogue number, and in the middle is the most important information. You will get here the title and the artist's name. In this case, you've got the title. Elvis's name is in the title, so it's kind of an all-in-one title and artist. Elvis in Memphis. At the bottom, you have the record company, which is RVC Corporation, and you also get the price at the bottom there. And the right side is a little bit of blurb on the album itself, and on the left side you get a few songs. Sometimes they list all the songs, and sometimes they only list some of the songs. And in the case of obis where some of the songs are listed, you will usually see a number at the bottom here, number 12. So that's telling you there are 12 songs on the album. Okay, so let's take a look at some albums by other artists on different labels, just to show you that the basic information is still there. It's still the same on the front. So on this one here, the Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Sadly, it's not the original from 1966, but you can see it has the price at the top. It has the record label, capital. It has a catalogue number here. On the left side, it has all the song titles here, and it has some blurb on the record on the right side, and the biggest information in the middle tells you the title, Pet Sounds, and the artist, the Beach Boys. This is Ray Charles's first album, and again you get the same basic information. Catalogue number at the top, the record label, the price, the manufacturer at the bottom, blurb on the right, song titles on the left, and in the middle you've got the title, which is the same as the artist's name, Ray Charles. This is a soundtrack album from the movie Rumblefish, written by Stuart Copeland, the drummer in The Police, but again the information is exactly the same. Catalogue number, price, blurb on the album, song titles here, tells you there are 13 songs in total. You've got the record label, A&M, and you've got the manufacturer besides that, and then you've got the title and then the artist in the biggest text. Okay, we'll just look at the front of one more album. This is Songs from the Heart by Johnny Hartman. Once again, the same basic information is there. It has the catalogue number, the price, the label, Bethlehem. It has blurb about the album. It lists some musician names here as well. The song titles, and then the manufacturer at the bottom, and in the middle, Johnny Hartman, Songs from the Heart. So you can see that the largest text, usually in the middle of the obi, will be the artist's name and the title of the album. As well as the basic information, sometimes the obi is used to point out something unique about a particular album. And there's a couple of things on this album here. The first one at the top here tells you that it's part of a series, the Elvis 50th Anniversary series. And it also tells you here that it's digitally remastered. And just below where it says digital remastering, in the little box there, it tells you that it's the original mono pressing as opposed to electronically reprocessed stereo. Another thing you can find on the front of some obis is a special offer details, and this red strip down here is telling you about a special offer in this particular series. And once again at the top here, this is also part of a series called Best Buy 2000. If a record contains some kind of bonus on the inside, then that will also be pointed out on the obi, often in a little box so it stands out. So this particular edition of Good Times, down here you can see some text in a little rectangular box, so this is simply pointing out that there's an insert enclosed, the Japanese liner notes. This obi here points out that the album comes with not only an insert with Japanese liner notes and lyrics, but it also comes with a colour portrait, bonus photo which I showed in a previous video. Just at the top here you can see the word stereo, and then underneath that in Japanese it says vocal. So some obis will also point out the genre of music, like this one here. This album also came with a bonus which I showed in a previous video, which was an envelope addressed to Elvis. So you could send your love letter to him, and that is pointed out here in this little box below the catalogue number. And this is another album I've shown before. Again, you can see there's some text in a box at the top here, and this is pointing out that it contains colour photographs on the inside. Just to return to this 1962 obi for a moment, just to point out that this is unusual in that there is no Victor logo on the obi. All the other essential information is there, such as the price, the catalogue number, the manufacturer at the bottom, and the blurb, and the title, and some of the song titles there. In fact, it doesn't even have Elvis's name specifically, although it does mention it here. Presley Stereo Album number 5. The old obis from the 1960s were usually like this one, basically with nothing on the back. Sometimes you could find the catalogue number on the back, but usually nothing else. This is the 1985 copy of Elvis, the second album, and the back of this obi is used to show the current Elvis catalogue. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of releases on there. It contains not only LPs, but a few cassettes and a couple of CDs on there as well. And another thing you can sometimes find on the back of the obi is like a little flap, like that. And at the top here you can see there's a line, a dotted line. Basically what this is, it's a reorder coupon So the seller, the shopkeeper, would simply cut this off and then fill in a couple of spaces here, which would be the shop's name and date, and hand it back, and they would be able to order another copy of this album. The rest of the information on here is the album title, artist name, record company, catalogue number, and so on. And this is the most recent Elvis vinyl release in Japan, and you can see that the back of the obi contains a lot of information. And what you have here is some historical information about the album, as well as all the tracks, some more information about it being a remaster and so on. And then, of course, with it being a modern album, you also get the barcode at the bottom. So there you have it. If, after all that, you're convinced that the obi is just a piece of paper, then you'll be able to get yourself some real bargains buying albums without it. If, on the other hand, you think it's an essential part of the whole package, then you'll need to be prepared to wait, especially to find an album that was released before 1962. And you'll also need to be prepared to pay a lot of money for one with an obi. Thanks for watching. Take care.